And he was eligible because I had a conversation with the Attorney General's office, and they're representing Randy Weber because he was a state representative. And I asked one of the counselors if Randy Weber was qualified and competent to represent the state of Texas, and the legal counselor, I don't have the legal counselor's name, we'll have to get that up, but he is an assistant attorney general, and he said that Randy Weber was eligible. He is eligible, I guess, to be a state representative and to receive the counsel, the defense counsel, because I named Randy Weber as a defendant, then they're counselors for Randy Weber because he was an official of the state of Texas. So the legal counselors for Weber argue that Weber is the victim and that the court in Texas may never intervene to assert and protect Smith's First Amendment right. Because, you know, why should Texas be protecting Smith when we have the Republican Party platform that wants to protect Randy Weber, who has Judeo-Christian values, unlike Smith, who believes in separating church and state? So when plaintiff reported the offense to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, I can't remember, it wasn't actually, I didn't personally have a conversation with the sheriff because I was calling in, and I talked to a deputy sheriff, and the report's name was Shaw. So the deputy sheriff in Jefferson County was named Shaw, S-H-A-W. And he took the report, and then later he responded to me after he took the report. Anyway, when the plaintiff reported the offense to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, plaintiff was informed after the sheriff took some, or the deputy sheriff took some time. He didn't immediately say, oh, that's not against the law. He let me know later, maybe the next day or sometime, when after he did research to find out about my complaint. Remember, I'm saying that Randy Weber says I'm the church, I'm the state, and that I felt threatened by that. And so the deputy sheriff informed the plaintiff that Weber had not violated Texas laws. That's not a law in Texas. That that you can't say that I am the church, I am the state. How you can't separate me. I'm the church, I'm the state. That really doesn't affect Texas law. That's not. Well, okay, I don't think that's part of the Texas Constitution, but what jurisdiction are we in? Are we subject to the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution? And I think after the Civil War that it's quite clear that they wanted to make sure that all the states knew that if they were going to be part of the United States of America, who won the Civil War, that the 14th Amendment would apply, that every citizen would have due process. That's part of the 14th Amendment, due process and equal protection, due process and equal protection for anyone that's in the jurisdiction, which is within the boundaries of the United States of America. And if you're in Texas, you're certainly in there. So I believe that the 14th Amendment applies, that I should have due process and equal protection, and that I should not be threatened by Randy Weber. And an agent here in Texas that was in the Federal Bureau of Investigation told the plaintiff that, quote, "It is not a civil rights violation here in Texas unless the victim is bleeding and dying." So, you didn't really get injured here, Mr. Smith. You didn't really get threatened because you're not bleeding and dying. Okay. Further, the plaintiff complains that Texas allows official bigotry. Witness the Plaintiff versus Weber lawsuit and other instances of official bigotry when I'm sure you can remember, when they had Christmas celebrations in the public square, or they have a National Day of Prayer on the steps of the courthouse. Anyway, plaintiff now expands his complaint to include not only Randy Weber, who I initially felt threatened by, who was acting individually to misuse his state office for the purpose of intimidating me and to threaten my First Amendment rights. So now I'm also naming the attorneys in the office. Remember, all these attorneys are counseling Randy Weber, and I'm naming those attorneys in the office of Attorney General Greg Abbott. And these attorneys who are refusing to recognize what is called the supremacy of the United States Constitution. Which one's going to take precedent here? The Texas Republican Party, that they believe that their interpretation of the First Amendment is Judeo-Christian, or is it the United States Constitution, meaning the Bill of Rights? Are they going to take, which one is taking precedent here? And I'm saying that the attorneys are in cahoots with Randy Weber, and they are violating the First Amendment and equal protection of myself, the plaintiff. And furthermore, these attorneys are proposing, quote, that I said, remember the cartoon, Mr. Magoo? They're saying that Weber's actions, Randy Weber, this is a state lawmaker, and now he's in Congress in Washington, D.C. making laws. His actions, this is a direct quote from their defense, actions could have been believed to be legal. Really? Mr. Weber thought he was being legal, and that somehow there was not notice. He had to have notice to the defendant, Randy Weber, that his conduct would clearly be unlawful. He had no notice. He doesn't know about the First Amendment because why? Maybe the attorney generals here in Texas and the lawmakers don't let Mr. Weber know, or I think Mr. Weber kind of knew, and all these people kind of knew that, this is the jurisdiction, the 14th Amendment, due process. We're all within the jurisdiction of the United States, but they're claiming, nope, Mr. Magoo could have been believed to be legal, and his conduct he didn't know that his conduct might be unlawful. Weber is not to blame for victimizing others. If Weber's attorneys are serious in their motion, and they're saying that Red Smith, the plaintiff, who is a United States military veteran, having served our country defending the First Amendment of the United States, and I'm returning home to seek public office, now lacking standing. They're saying that I have no standing, that this is moot, that it doesn't make any difference, that it's not really ripe. Then why did Randy Weber challenge the plaintiff, saying, I am the church, I am the state? The event in the Jefferson County Courthouse was organized by Catholic Charities. The plaintiff reasserts and expands the original complaint, which is now in the Fifth Circuit, and the plaintiff cannot receive a fair hearing here when the conduct of the counsel for the defense in the office of the Attorney General Greg Abbott is outrageous. Thank you. This concludes my show today, and I hope that you all will share this with your friends and let us contact you, or you'll contact us and let us know.